I just sold a Seattle Monopoly with a Fortnite Malapipy. Hi guys, how's it going? If you don't know who I am, I'm Cindy Krause with Krause House Sift and Thrift. I've been a reseller since 2001, mainly on eBay, but I've also sold on Mercari, Facebook Marketplace, and Poshmark. And welcome to my video. If you're the first time, thank you for checking this out. I hope you will learn a lot about reselling. So you can either start your journey or continue your journey. And I'm all about making you more profitable so you can either do this as a hobby or make a living at this. I am full-time, so this is my living. I make YouTube videos and I also have an eBay store since August of 2001. That's when I started my first eBay store, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great journey, a great adventure, and I've learned a lot. So that's what this channel is all about, sharing with you guys what I have learned. And I thought I'd talk about today, I kind of was going to call this something like anatomy of a thrift store, or, you know, what to thrift, what the thrift. You know, it's all about like when you're walking into a thrift store, let's say you're a first-time reseller, and you know, you could get overwhelmed. It's like, no! Maybe you haven't worked out your niche, or you know, you're just starting out and you're just kind of like, what do I get? I don't know what to get. I don't know brands, I don't know categories, I don't know what sells. And I did do a video a while back when I was going through the thrift store, and I pointed out in each section of the thrift store what sells well, at least what sold well for me. This is always about my experience. Of course, each category in each section of the store, you're going to find something else that maybe I haven't found or I haven't sold, that maybe another YouTuber has told you to pick up so you can sell it, and that's great. But I always base my information on my own experience and what I have learned, so I could teach you guys something that I have done myself. I'm not going to tell you to sell something I haven't sold, because you know, it may sell, it may not, and I really want to teach you guys what has sold for me and what I've done well with. And so I thought I would just kind of take you through a thrift store and kind of point out in each section of the thrift store or category what you should be looking for when you're outsourcing. Now, of course, you can't apply this to other places you're sourcing, you know, a yard sale or estate sale, rummage sale. But in this example, I was going to use a thrift store just because that's the most prevalent, and I think most people have thrifted at least one thrift store sourced there for their eBay inventory. Now, different resellers, you know, look for their items to sell in different areas. But I was going to talk about a thrift store today. That's what I thrift at the most and I'm more familiar with. So that's why we're going to talk about a thrift store today. And it's as if you're walking in there, and I'm not going to take it, obviously. Each thrift store has a different layout. So I can't say, well, when you walk in this store, to the right is this, to the left is that, to straight ahead is this. They all differ. So I'm just going to kind of go each category as, you know, I've seen, you know, pretending I'm walking to a particular thrift store, maybe what I'm going to see when I first walk in there. But it doesn't matter. Whatever order you find these things is fine. It's just, I'm just going to kind of get going, and I'm going to tell you about things that I have sold specifically and what you should be looking for from my experience. Okay. BOLOs, of course, that's the most thrifted item. That's the most, probably the most sold item. On eBay, most thrifted, most sold. And most people, you know, have sold clothes at one time or another, whether that's their niche or not. Woo, and so that's why I wanted to talk about clothing. You can either thrift women's or men's clothing or both. I don't recommend that you thrift kids' clothing or clothes. I do not do well with kids' clothes. I just really don't like selling them because they sit in my store, and it's not fun when you buy something and list it and it's got a slow sell-through rate. That's what we're looking for, fast sell-through rates. Things that you list and are out of your store within a few months. That's the ideal. Of course, I have some things that have been in my store a year or two, and then they had to find the right buyer and then they sold. But usually you want a fast sell-through rate, meaning a quick turnaround. You get that item listed and it sells quickly. So I wouldn't recommend kids' clothes unless that's your niche and you're very familiar with the brands that are going to sell the best. I just sold like a Mickey Mouse girl's top that I'd had listed for 2 years, I think, and sold for $6 or something. And that's the other thing. They don't, not only are they a slow seller, they are a low seller. So you're not going to make much money. Even if you get it free, wouldn't recommend it, again, unless that's your niche, or, you know, you have a bunch of little kids at home. You know, when I started, my kids were little. I think they were like, I don't know, 4 and 2 or 5 and 2, something like that. And I did sell a lot of kids' clothes in the beginning because that's what I had, and that's fine. Toys are always good. I would recommend toys over clothing, kids' clothing. But moving on, men's or women's, preferable, vintage t-shirts, vintage anything pretty much. I do well with vintage nightgowns. I've sold many of those, and for pretty good money, 20-ish mark. Moo-moos, you know, I've talked about this before. Those just fly out my store, 20, 25 bucks. Those are a sure seller. Always be looking for those, and looking for vintage, mostly nightgowns. Now you can get vintage pajamas or cool pajamas. Like a couple years ago, I sold this pajama set. It was flannel, and it had like mobile homes on it or something. It was really cool and kitschy, and, you know, a novelty. Novelty items do sell. So if you see, you know, like pajamas or a nightgown with like a really cool pattern, you think, hey, somebody's gonna want that, or like Dr. Seuss or something like that, yeah, totally grab those. Denim generally sells denim jackets, but what sells better is embellished denim jackets. I just sold one with a whole bunch of pearls on it. I think it was $22 I sold that for. Be looking at not only for items that sell well, but be looking for the type of material. I just said denim, cashmere, alpaca, silk, wool. Pendleton is a brand to look for with wool. Nat Nast, I just sold a Nat Nast shirt, silk shirt for a man for like $35. So, but there's tons of brands with, you know, for cashmere, alpaca, silk, and wool. But sometimes it doesn't matter on the brand. People want that quality fabric. So I would just grab something if it had any of that fabric, and it could have a variation of it. Maybe it's not 100% wool or silk, but it has something else in it, like rayon or polyester or cotton. And it's better to be 100%, but if it's even a mixture, that could be good too. Blazers, vintage blazers, or, you know, really nice modern blazers are good, men or women, and leather jackets. Those are always a good sell. Right now I have a Wilson's women's beautiful embossed jacket for sale, and I have it at $65. So it's probably gonna, you know, it's gonna wait for the right buyer. I did have a girl email me and said she wished it was her size because she really liked it. It's like an XXL or something like that. So that's going to find the buyer at the right time. And I don't mind keeping it at 65 for now. If it's been there a few weeks or months, I will reduce the price. But things, I will have a no list later. I'm not going to tell you right now what I wouldn't pick up. That will come at the end. All right, shoes. Vintage, it depends, but I'll give you the category: sneakers, loafers, Oxford boots, things like Gladiator sandals, Converse, Chucks, slippers, new ones, nice ones. And this is for men's and women's. You're going to have to look up brands. I'm not, this is not about telling you all about brands. I've done those videos before and you can go back and look at those. I will throw in some brands if I think of them, but I'm giving you more categories, things to look for when you're thrifting. Look for these categories. Then of course, brand does come into play. Some brands will sell better than others, and you can comp those when you're in the store. Get on your eBay app and comp them out. But at least I'm giving you an idea of what to look for when you're in the thrift store, and when you're in this particular section of the thrift store, what you should be picking up, or either just picking up or comping them out and then picking out if it's a good seller. Belts, those chain belts like from the 80s, those are really good seller. A lot of vintage belts. I just sold a metallic one, the kind that are stretch belts, but they have really pretty buckles. They have like butterflies and different things, those kind of things. Women like that kind of thing because it reminds them of the 80s. I remember I used to wear belts in the 80s. I don't now, but yeah, belts for men or women, leather belts. And then the one that I love picking up, even if it's not real, are concho belts. And they're the kind that either have leather or faux leather. And they've got the silver, either real silver or fake silver. Yeah, they got the silver buckles. And I just sold one, I don't know, for $15. So it wasn't even real. It's just people like that look. It's like a Western style. Any kind of Western belts you would do well with. And a lot of times belt buckles sell well too. If it's just the buckle, you could make a lot of money with just a buckle even without the belt. So then we're moving on to purses and wallets. I don't pick up a lot of wallets. The ones I do pick up are the tooled leather wallet. I just sold one a little while ago for 20 bucks. Or if they have like, they're really cute, like they have like animals on them, cats or dogs or something like that. I have sold those kind of wallets. Otherwise, if they're just a plain wallet, it's going to sit in your store. I wouldn't pick it up. Just something, if you see something out in the wild, as they say, or out when you're sourcing, and it just looks really cool and really kitschy or cute or fun, and if you really like it, chances are somebody else will too. If it's something with bright colors or a bright pattern or is really unique and different looking, grab it. That's what's going to sell. All right, so purses, wallets. Okay, as far as purses, I try and get the colorful ones. I used to sell black ones, but they sit in, I list black ones, but they sit in my store depending on the brand. Now I try and get different colored ones like orange or blue or green, and those do tend to sell. I do have one that's kind of like a metallic gold right now, and it's kind of just sitting in my store. So I would go with the really bright colors like this color. I've sold that color purses before. And of course, brands all come into play. You know, you can look at Vera Bradley and there's different brands, but this wasn't about brands. This is about categories, things to look for when you're sourcing. So yeah, purses too, if there's anything like with dogs on or cats or something cute or tigers, who knows, you know, people like that kind of thing. So yeah, just keep an eye out when you're sourcing. Just like if it looks really great to you and you're like, oh my gosh, I've never seen anything like this. It looks really awesome, really fun, and it's in excellent condition, either new or gently used. Yeah, I would grab it. And a lot of times this is just going on instinct too. Once you learn what to buy and what sells, you will have an instinct as to what to buy and what will sell. Okay, and I'm going to add these no's later on. All right, game. Board games. I've sold many, many, many board games. Some higher dollar than other, obviously. You know, what always sells well for me are the Monopoly versions. I just sold a Seattle Monopoly with a Fortnite Monopoly. Monopoly. I think even the vintage ones can sell, but there's all different kinds. There's different ones from different states. I think I have one listed now called Wazopoly. And it's based on a college, Wazoo, I think. Hasn't sold yet, but I think it will. And games, when it gets closer to Thanksgiving and Christmas, people will buy games. That's when they start flying out my store, because people are with family and they want to play games. I'm the same way. I have tons of games at my parents' house, and that's where we go for Thanksgiving and Christmas. We're always playing games. There's so much fun. So get those games listed now, you guys. We're in fourth quarter. Thanksgiving's coming up. Now the Halloween's over, and people are going to be wanting to buy games. But, you know, another game that sells very well for us is Catan. They make a lot of different kind of games. It's Catan, and they have a lot of different ones. They're expensive games to buy, but if you could find one like in a thrift store, you know, for, I don't know, $5 or under, I would totally grab that. They list for 20 and up. So, and there's tons of board games that sell, but I'm not going to list them all. You know, 80s games. I sold a Dream Phone game from the 80s. You know, if you see something and it looks very vintagey, but it's not like a saturated thing like Scrabble or something like that, you know, like it's a game you've never really heard of, or look it up. Oh, bless you. My cat's sneezing. Oh, buddy. Oh, bless you. Oh, poor thing. He's got something in his nose. I never hear the cat sneeze. When I had dogs, they'd sneeze, but are you okay? I think he's okay. All right, so moving on. This isn't a big category, but I thought I would mention it because I have sold these over the years. Perfume or cologne. You will see, like if you're in the health and beauty section of a thrift store, you might find some perfume. Well, I would look it up, first of all. If it's a good brand, it's got to be full, because eBay will not... Now, new's different. New's going to be full until they find on eBay. But if it's old or vintage or used, it has to be full. You can't, you know, list partially used perfume anymore. It used to be able to, but I think it's a health concern now. So you can't. Like I just sold Shalimar. I bought 2 of them at a estate sale. And I sold them within, you know, one sold within a month. The other one just sold recently. And I went there in July. So first one sold for 30, second one sold for 25. But that was a good one. And it was vintage, but nobody had used it. It was new, so it was full. So I sold those. Those are fun. There's tons of brands of perfume and cologne. I'm not going to go over all of them. This is something you could look up on your own. But if you were in a thrift store and you find perfume or cologne and it is full, it's either sealed or even if it's unsealed, if it's full, I mean, I'd probably take a chance. If it's really inexpensive, even if you sell it for $10, usually thrift stores don't charge a lot of money, unless they're the kind that are in the case, you know, by the front door, they have a case. Sometimes I'll put upscale perfume in there. So, you know, you don't want to be paying up for perfume unless you're going to be making at least double your money. So that is something you can, you know, think about and comp out if that's something you want to do. There are other things besides perfume. There is a powder. I did sell a powder a few months ago. It was, it never been used, but it was vintage. I'll have to put up the brand. I'll have to put it up on the screen. I actually don't remember the brand. Lady something. And it was totally vintage, and I sold that for 40, I believe. So not just cologne and perfume, but all the other products like the powder, they have creams and other things associated with perfume. Of course, I'm not going to go into other health and beauty. Some other health and beauty items can be worth a lot. I don't sell makeup. If I found some new stuff, I could sell it, but usually it doesn't sell for high money, again, depending on the brand. But moving on, I wanted to throw in Christmas decor. I love selling Christmas items. The things that I wrote down here that always sell well for me are Hallmark Jingle Pals. I've mentioned that before. Those are so much fun. I've sold several of them over the past 2 years. And I even sell them in the summer. I mean, they just sell year round and they're great. And they have different kinds, usually a snowman, like Mr. and Mrs. Snowman, or a snowman with reindeer. It's just different variations. It's super fun because it sings and dances and people like that stuff. So anything, not just the Jingle Pals, but if you got other, oh great, I just see a spider. If you see other brands where, you know, it's a reindeer or elf or a Santa or a snowman, whatever, and it's singing and dancing, maybe a Christmas song. Like I just listed one recently. I haven't sold it yet. And I think it was White Christmas it plays. So, and I expect that to be selling when it gets closer to Christmas. But this spider is huge. Oh my
Spider?
gosh. And I saw that the other day and I just let it roam. I know I'd forgot about it until I saw him today and I'm thinking, oh, I probably should get rid of him. He's crawling on my curtain. Oh gosh. Anyway, so Christmas, yeah, Christmas decor, tree toppers, angel tree toppers. I've sold several of those, and there's different kinds. Sorry, keeping an eye on that spider. There's different kinds, but you know, the typical angel tree topper with the porcelain head, and she has lights underneath so you can plug her in and she'll light up. People like that kind of thing. They're usually vintage, so be keeping your eye out on that. And other, you know, Christmas items, books. Collectible, rare, vintage sets. Sets are better. I've been selling a lot of sets, book sets, or if you just even get one rare or vintage book. But not all the old ones are worth money, so you got to comp those out. Caps and hats. I've sold many of men's caps over the years. I sold one for $80. It was a Michael Jordan Just Dawn cap. Usually the wool caps are the best, but if you get a popular sports team or a player, you know, those could sell for a lot of money. You know, wool really does, the wool ones sell better for me than the others. But if it's new, it's gonna sell better. But even if it's vintage or, you know, old and it's gently used, those sell too. But you definitely have to comp those out. You know, you got states, cities, you got universities, even TV shows, you know, so you could be looking at the caps. Caps are good. They're very easy to list and ship. And then you got other kinds of hats, like cowboy hats. I've sold a few cowboy hats for good money. And then you got winter caps. Now those you're going to really comp out because some of them aren't going to sell for much. But if you get the right brand, like I've sold some NEFF caps. And other brands, the winter ones, they do very well. I don't know where that, oh, the spider's way at the top. Okay. All right, home and garden. Things like parts like a dishwasher part I sold for $35. Ducting, car wax, car accessories, waffle makers sell, water filters and dispensers. You know, things that people need, like, you know, for their house, for, you know, dishwasher, washer and dryer, for any appliances. Appliance parts can go for a lot of money because people need them. So, you know, be on the lookout and comp them out. Office supplies, you got ink cartridges. And then sometimes in the office supplies are lamps, like banker's lamps. I've also sold those gooseneck flexible lamps, which are for your office. Those sell well for me. All right, so home decor, you got, I'm not going to go into all of this. You know, if you want to look at artwork, I would look that up. You want to make sure it has a signature and it's an artist that is sought after on eBay. I've mentioned this before. I've sold Paul Detlefson, Thomas Kincaid. You know, there's tons. You got to look them up. And then you got clocks. You got wall clocks. Howard Miller is a great brand. Sterling and Noble, I've sold a lot of those. You also got the mantle clocks. People like those, so be looking out for those. And then also with the home decor or cookbook stands, I've sold a lot of those really nice cast iron ones. People like those and they will pay up for them. Okay, miscellaneous, we got vintage shelving, shelf sitters, caboodles. Any of those caboodles sell quickly for me and well. Vintage jewelry boxes or those valet boxes like men use to put on their like dresser. Vintage magazine holders. I have one for sale now and it's just sitting there, but I sold one before that was like had a toll printing on it. It was really pretty and colorful. If you're going to get them, I'd get the pretty and colorful kind. People like that kind of thing. You know, it has like a floral print or something like that. You guys, I will not be covering every category. These are just ones that I do the best in. And then as far as nose, don't get those throw pillows. Geez, I have a tough time pronouncing today.
I can't pronounce it.
Pillars. Throw pillars. What are those? You throw a pillar. No. Throw pillow. Now, it depends. I one time sold this. I got it at a thrift store. It was like a sex pillow. It was really funny. Yeah, it was like for sexual positions. And it sold quickly and well, but usually throw pillows are going to be a slow seller for me. So they just kind of sit in my store. So I'm not going to get those anymore unless it's something very special that I think it'll sell right away. Pictures. I don't do well with pictures. And I also heard Karen from Lavender Clothesline said she doesn't do well with pictures either. Water pictures. I don't know why. I have some really pretty ones. They just sit in my store. Dresses and skirts. I don't do well with those. Very slow seller for me. So those are some of the no's for me, but you know, I have a lot more that I wouldn't be picking up. But I don't want to make this too long of a video, you guys. I just kind of wanted to give you some ideas because I'm sure, you know, most of you have gone into a thrift store or you're going to be going into a thrift store and maybe you're still learning and you're overwhelmed. You just don't know what to get. So this gives you an idea what to look for and how, you know, just kind of go for make a beeline for just these items and just look through them. If you're an everything seller, this is really going to help you. If you're a niche seller, I guess only if one of these items, one of these categories is your niche is going to help you. But as always, it's just trying to educate you, give you some advice, what to look for, what to do, some tips. I am here for you. And so if you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them. Subscribe if you want. I hope you're having an awesome day. I am doing well. The cats, Sparta and Oliver, who you can't see, say hello. And I love you guys so much. I'm so thankful for you and have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.